Namo Dharma Namo Sangha Namo Guru Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Namo Namo Dhamma Namo Sangha Anjetu Anje Anje lo sang zhang se ya dang jie ba nie yan de xie zo zo de yan ji na de zhe la ma jie bian zong gao jian 爱罗因的别，是有那千种多，天不一切，也有叫主做些解决表。也我觉也难做面多也心多难在天在做我要想也着求也定要做的。所有那些着，所有那的好，满的罗罗的，秋叶叶满的，当作 也当无助当无的好一样的也。多劫中南老将就王多当年将多大给须臾人劫呗，上界罗罗边界上界多人说，觉当作界中南老将就。觉当作界中南老将就王多当年将多。大给须臾劫呗，左上界罗罗边界上界多人。
都是然后我们一年把第一特别是3年的公上就是日嘛，那3本是
I would like to remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate bodhicitta motivation, the highest form of motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta altruistic motivation, we should participate in this discourse on Bodhisattva's perfection of joyfulness, joyful effort into the So we will continue to go through this chapter where it explains that if we do not reflect on awareness of death and dying as impermanence of life, so when it actually happens, the death strikes us. So at that time, we will be in a very difficult situations. And at that time, maybe our health has, gone down really bad. So we are on our death's bed. And pretty soon we will be separated from our loved family and friends. And then we also started to feel that when we had the time, we did not pursue Dharma practice, and now it's kind of late. And so our mind is full of regret. So all of these things can make, the dying really very challenging and difficult.
니들 다다니로 예소 년의 신주 자신 자세베세 김 다시베 미저 的三把球员是生命流的亏损是两年间到底生性的没有我是说呢，有这边干嘛一边是确实这些才今天中世讲才没被说，但才没被说到底，他感觉现在这学习啊，老子去嘛就呢。你很多现在绝把差不多没事，现在心里现在他
So we on page 88 of this English translation rendered by Stephen Bachelors of the Bodhisattva Guide, and stanza 10 right on the top reads, tormented by the memory of my evils, meaning negativities, and hearing the sounds of hell, in terror I shall clothe my body in excrement. What virtue can I do in such a delirious state? Unquote. So as Geshe read the relevant commentary on those lines and explained that if we wait until we said when the death really strikes me, then I will be very mindful and do practice. It would be too late by then. As Geshe explained earlier, the practice of abandonment and adoption, we call langtor, is something we should do when we have time and when we are able to do it. But if we wait at the time of the death, as I said before, our health might go down. And now we are pretty much sure that we are not going to survive this time. We're going to die. So death is certain. And our beloved friends and families feel very sad that pretty soon we will be separated from each other. And then, because of some karmic ripenings, we might even feel as if we could hear the misery sounds of the beings in the hell. It's not like, we actually hear it, but because of some karmic, ripening. And then that frightens us. That frightens us like anything. And it is so fearful that we might not be able to hold ourselves and we might, defecate in the dead death. So the whole situation looks very sorrowful and despicable in a sense, very sad. So at that time, we have really no ability. We are not in a situation to be able to do our practice. Yeah? So before that happens, it's much smarter for us to be able to think while we can, as we're able to do our practice. Great Kadamba masters, the Geshes, have this advice for all of us. They say that when you are living, you should learn to fear death. what could happen, what might happen, and that difficult situation, so that you are able to engage in practice and create positive actions and virtues. So when you habituate yourself in that way, when actually that happens at that time, then you should be fearless. So this is the advice of the Katapa masters. While we are living, we should fear death. When it actually happens, then no more fear left. So that's the way to do it, because why? So when we are living and our health is good, we're able to practice, we have the Dharma practice, everything well. So there are methods that can help us to be able to prepare ourselves for that eventuality and be in a much better position when it happens, isn't it? But if we wait too long, and when it actually happens, now I'm going to be really buckle up and do something, it's too late. And it is as if, everything seems really hopeless. We are getting separated from our beloved friends and relatives. We started to hear this kind of sound of the howling, and we are segregating in the deathbed. And so, think about that. Are you really doing practice? Are kids able to do anything? So that's too late. So it's wise to heed advice of the Tathagata masters. Fear the death now, so that we don't fear the death when it actually strikes us.
这个是这头女的都是头是生意看的，你不这个婆婆看他这里边说这个东就是没有这在心间一个东西说的。确定啊，这一个社会。都是学什么的，现个去现在因为呢，这个现在可头尾呢，直接和头尾弄的是 para Lütür Kürt'e göre çöba Lütür beva da song he ma chi to zi me di ka di shu di ga se zi ne de sa na shi me
Maybe Geshe system has a battery low or something, right? Anyway, I try my best to listen to him. In the extensive commentary, as Geshe read, I didn't catch the name of the daughter, maybe the matter of ancient Indian king by the name of King Titi. And so that princess happens to be very the dharmic kind of princess, spiritually inclined princess. And so she said this, that while and we have the time to do practice, we're able to do practice, this is the right time to engage in practice. Because we never know when that is going to strike us. So we don't want to be caught up by surprise. We should think as if, we are dwelling in the open mouth of the Lord of Death, Yama, right? So that we really become very mindful of our practice, that we need to do it now. But later, if we wait too long and we were actually in the open mouth of the Yama, then even if we wish to practice, we think practice is everything, we may not need to practice at that time. So there are many reasons why that now our health has gone bad. And so it's very difficult to do any practice. The death situation frightens us so much that fear overtakes our mind. And then we start to feel like, I should have practiced when I had the time to do. I thought I would find time. No, now we go into all that kind of thought processes, and we feel so much regret, right, for having lost the opportunity to practice. So all of this compounds, right, makes the time of death very difficult. And then also our memory seems to fail at that time sometimes, right? Now we really don't remember much about to practice, and the memory is failing us. Or maybe we already become very old, right? Our body is failing us at the time. And so that time, what can we do actually? Even if we say we want to practice, this doesn't look like a pretty state where we're able to do much here, And the metaphor given is, it's just like a frog landed in the mouth of the cobra or the snake. Well, you're sure to die. The cobra will bite or close the mouth, and that's it. Now we are at a state where, we don't have to speculate anything. That is certain. And we are in a very difficult situation, and there's not much we can do. Right at that time, even if we regret too much, it's a little too late. So before that happened, right now we are very good. So this is the time to wake up, according to the princess of the King Tiji, that when you are in a good health, you are in a good state of mind, and you are able to do practice, we should fear death and do our practice.
我得有点这个是的形式。
No. 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 So as Keshla read from the commentary, at the moment, our mind is functioning well, and our health is good, and so we are able to practice. So this is the time, we should not let ourselves be influenced by the laziness or procrastination. When we're able to do it, like I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it, some other time. That laziness can disturb our practice. As a matter of fact, as great masters say, so when we think about these things, the moment of practice is now, not later, right? We have to feel the sense of urgency that I am in good health, I'm in a good state of mind, and I'm able to practice, and this is what I should be doing right now, not later, But if we push anything later, procrastination, we never know whether that later time might come or the death will come before that, and it's too late. Buddha, in his advice to a king, he said, Your Majesty, right now you are in a good health, good state of mind, you are able to practice, so you should think about death, which is going to happen for sure. There's nothing mystery about that. But the bad news is, Your Majesty, you really don't know, right, when that's going to happen. The time of death is uncertain. So therefore, the best is to always feel the sense of urgency, and whenever you could practice it now. Feel the sense of immediacy, right? Not that I'll do my responsibility and then I'll do my practice. That may never happen, But if you wait too long, then maybe, you have aged so much. Your body has aged. Now, even if your mind wants to practice, your body is not cooperating. You can't practice. Or maybe your mind has also kind of aged in a sense that your memory is failing and declining. So really, you can't practice. You have no clarity of the mind. It's kind of very cloudy and fuzzy and, all of that, right? Is happening now. And so now you say, okay, I wish I can practice. It's too late. What can you do, right? The condition is such that, you can't fold yourself. You waited too long, and nobody can practice in this kind of a condition. So thinking that ahead of time, and we should prepare ourselves for that eventuality where nobody can help us except ourselves, And that's why the great Tibetan yogi Milarepa of the 11th century footnote there. He said, I fear death so much that I escaped into the mountains and into the empty caves, Now I have dedicated myself into practice so well. Now the death is welcome anytime. I'm not scared of death anymore. It's going to be a celebration. So, hey, come anytime. Right now, I understood your nature, and so I'm ready. So this is what it is, the lesson, isn't it? When we are able to do practice and everything's going well, we should fear death. And when it really comes, then we don't fear death anymore.
Someone just said the Linya doing the moon so no one damn is. Nick up Shida Jungi, Dambades, or the show machine, Shishu Johnson, in Shigalamole, and someone a carlegary, similar card doing a carlegary, you doing a carlegary, what did they got the race? But this did they got Shabashane in the Shishu machine, she showed Lansan Lang Shiguadi, Cosita. News that I'm not to take over. Dambades, said the Tether Juala, Samne, Lilo Bones, or did that said Dilling, said Dilling, spend and the Shishu, Lilo, she show my she share, in the Shigalamole, in a bed doing doing grace. Or the two said Dilla, she was Shishu, she be naming this. In Dilla didn't share race or that did all. Share race or dear. That did not any sharing young to told you were that she's a digger to Trematon Remother. Hilaya, Joya, Tabji with the Tezar or your Maris. The Joya Tabji the Masses go, you name it, the don't cut the she must on share race. Got it out to that did the choose at Lansan on the sugar, some of the she's there, shall you my Lansan on the sugar race. That did. I'm not doing all the language.
So the takeaway lesson for every one of us is this, that right now, we are in a good situation, and we should reflect on what, will happen when the death, strikes us, okay? And so that's going to be a very difficult situation for anybody, right? Our body and mind will not be in the same state as we feel now, experience it. And as we said, our health might fail. And even if you want to practice, if your health is really not working well, how can we practice with it? And even if we want to practice, our mind has become very cloudy, it is overtaken by the anxiety and the fear and all of those things, then how can we practice, And so these things will happen. It's not a mystery part, right? We are lucky and fortunate it's not happening this very moment, So it's wise to reflect on those things so that we can buckle up and prepare ourselves really as best as we can for that time. So when it actually happens, we are more like celebrating it, right? We are not fearful of death. So that's the way to do it. And so that one of the purpose of reflecting on uncertainty of time of death, especially, is that we do not fall under the influence of laziness or procrastination, right? Because we often tend to do that. Yeah, I know practice is so important. It's everything, but I'll do it tomorrow, And tomorrow comes tomorrow, So we'll push it for any other tomorrow. That's endless. And then before the tomorrow comes, death says, I'm here, And then like, oh my gosh, Nobody told me that. Geshe didn't say that's in the footnote, by the way. So So this, the laziness of procrastination can really cheat and deceive us like anything. And that's why in this life, we get so much distracted by that, because the laziness, procrastination said, you are fine, you will have time later on, so do whatever other things you need to do for this life, and as if, we will have time, and then we lose the opportunity. So we don't want to be caught up in that kind of a situation. And as all the great masters tell us, as we reflect on the death, we fear death, and we should feel the sense of urgency that we will realize, now is the practice time, not tomorrow, not later on, isn't it? Whatever practice we can do it now, so that we don't have any more regret later on. If we never have any more time, well, now we practice, isn't it? So that's a great way to do it. And so otherwise, at the time of the death, we get all this maybe hallucinations, right? Also, we seem like we're hearing the sounds of the hell beings, and, all these strange visions of the messengers of the death. And maybe some of them are real because of karmic dispositions, and some of these are hallucinations. So at that time, it would be really difficult to be able to manage the situation and practice. But if we prepare now, then we will be better positioned to be able to manage it.
어디 그래서 뉴저니에 동에 상반이 다들 내 연세대 들으셔. 거기 누지 해당하는 통주님이다. 마동님이 님이니요. 제주일러시는 나도 통주님주 세대가 통주님이 되겠다. 다 마동님이 되게야입니다. 뉴저니에 동에 상반이 전에 치와를 녀와 초비 돼서 냐송보 제대라 그도시바 교왔다고 세대야 지과셔보다 내버주나 통에는 하대파 내버메가 시비 레여게 시먼니에 니리스 제니 니야 메세베 용해나네 모즈용거 지르베 제 지과셔보다 내버 버지고 셔보세 다다디 지바시아디 현다 세가마 갈가시오디디 테마도로와 다다처럼 이게 세디기 수수에 싱해도 되게 니가 텐데가서 있다고요나 에네 베체코와 토마메와 사히비 디바디리 녀녀가 되게 니바디 가지야르잖아 근데 삼님이 잡아요 리스워디 해야 되죠 뉴저니에 동에서 바니 최초를 녀와쇼비 뒤서 나 소보 지데라 준다시바데 쳐봐요 대대베 세대요 지와셔버 내버주나 호메네 다데팔 디바미고시베 레정게 시마니니리소 얘네 녀와메세베 동에나니 무슨 용거버 주이세 지와셔버다 데모모지고 셔워스 다다다처럼 세직 좀 비자 곰지지리 디스링갈 소비게 가서 샤워기 마시와 테네 엔 제바 디레지게네 코통에서 하시베 디바 셔버지 디베디 용알레 엔 가데 용으로바 왜 사지 마셔버리 시와다 가서 제가 텐데 지과 셔버다 데마 주노세 다다 세지 소비지 가서 샤워시 시와 만지버다 제바 셔버디 지게나 it's coa toma sahe be digvati gel ni jeva khadi jegras in e sento maris o deswari karsa sena deva jona tongme no sa bidade par digva migo cha tongme da jeva toma me da digva toma yomara odi in ange shimar ni dunge shimma Chimmer ni is genis, Rashima Nua Geni, Nua Missebe, Senatira, Dungi, Tingsabo, Zata was a Missebe, Dungena, the most Yungo of Chuves, it's Jivashi was the music ghost, that Tadacha so singing of the Jivashi the Bay, Kena Jina, the in the Toma Sashi Divati, Nyawa Dutella, and Jiva Mijo Cardi, Yavati, and Jiva Missile Jaguar was. She that the day that said, you some 起码你个因为什么？第一上头大的开始朗读的开始的呢，因全习惯的声音东西是噻，的什么说，他在哪里大概我得听过，他的多大都得听那个对吧
？Stanza 11 on page 88 reads, if even in this life I shall be grieved with fear, like that of a live fish being rolled in hot sand, why even mention the unbearable agonies of hell that will result from my unwholesome deeds, unquote. So Geshe-la's reading of the extensive commentary and explanation pertains to that stanza. So as Geshe-la explained, when we reflect on death as impermanence of life, we reflect on all the difficulties and challenges that we will face at the time of death. So those things will be very obvious and overt experiences we will have, right? Can we really tolerate them? The things we talked about, I mean, being separated from your loved ones, and there's nothing that can save us anymore. We have so much regret for not having practiced when we had the time, and now we started to have all these visions of the hell beings, things like that. So there's so much, right? Difficulties. We think about that, but then we also reflect on the lot of challenges, that could happen, which are invisible to us right now. That will happen after death, So this is where we are starting it now, and so as we already talked about, that if we don't think about death and create awareness of death, when death actually comes to us, it will be very difficult situations. And even if we have inkling of Dharma practice or wish to do something, maybe we can't do anything. It's too late. And now nobody can save us, and so just we have full of regrets, and we have to face that. And so at the time of death, we might even recall now like some of the serious negativities we might have done. So one or two of those things, right, that we remember, that just kind of scares like anything, like, oh my gosh, now what did I do? I did all those things, I did not purify them, and now I have to pay for the karma. So if that scares us like anything, what needs is there to mention about a lot of negativities that we have accumulated since beginningless time, isn't it? As we say in Buddhism, there is no beginning to our life in samsara. So we have been in samsara since time immemorial. And that means since time immemorial, we have been accumulating, doing a lot of negativities. So all of those negativities are pretty much on our mind, isn't it? Imprints. So if we don't purify them, they're still in our mind. So if the death comes and we're sure to die, where will we be in our next life? We will obviously be in the hellish state of existence, right? Because these negativities will precipitate rebirth in bad situations, never in good situations. And where the suffering is untold suffering. The suffering we thought we really know it here in human life is nothing if we compare to the agonies of the hell beings, And so we can't bear it, And so right now, the smart thing is think about all those things that could happen if we never purify our mind of the negativities and if we don't create and accumulate positive actions. And so at the moment, if we are scaring ourselves thinking this thought, that's a smart way. So that means that become a motivating factor for us to engage in practice now, not to procrastinate for later time or tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. But if we don't think about these things right now, as if we are never going to die, although we know we're going to die, and the time of death is uncertain, and it strikes us by surprise, and then we said, okay, now I need to do something, we cannot buckle up then. So this is too late. Our health has gone bad. Our mind is not functioning well. And so many challenges we face at that time. But those challenges are small compared to where we will end up after death, right? All these negativities can precipitate our rebirth in the bad migrations, where the suffering is very intense, and the kind of suffering we have never known in the human world. The suffering is very pervasive, extensive. So can we really tolerate that? Consider that now. So we can. Now is the time to engage in practice. So that should be the reminder, right? That's the takeaway lesson. Not tomorrow, not later time to do practice. Practice now.
Yang kangpa thangpo thang se yagar shajo nang namdo la rengi sayo thang di se nya sombo mangbo chubu yin nang di sha ne se sohi sadhu be tse sewa she la di tse chunu yin nang di rinda she ba tabu she deshin so so she do sa ta dire kar sa di ta pe di nya be she den sha ni rulo jaba nang she sa di tse di ya dire mo she ene 냐 총게 다 배상원들로 누가 해도 남도에서 까마 타보통 저와 로스 야니 세월다다 로모 신중로주 제신세야기는 시나 어디 까마 타보도 야갈 샤조바 남세 다 샤조바스 자 고마리 거기 사가갈 냐 사초르시 치는 샤고도 어디서 거기 예 따고 마지나 남도 사초르시 야셰는 냐 사두디다 and children juga doors na dikadu ragmarwa sera ti mego ashikadu kadu de ti sa churu shi ti sinje in children lo jeres da sa churu do si je ti oro aja no so hin se sa de be te se ba shela ene lamza sa ga lamza so je se ba shela ti de chunu ina de judo she ba ta bu se she deshes so she dos she da chidona shimegil jiloshidanda ene be shilo ke shino jiloshidanda kaji chikba suevel ngon so ne dos chugdashida haja mizo shebo geris o tisiwarta she da ngon da sagon shebo nya so so chun sha eno za goyes lamsa se shiworo ti igaja direwa oti sombo mombo shubo ina de shane so yi sa de se ba she de shuno ina de juda she ba ta bu she deshin so ye so deshin zi chijulo ju deshin she en jwa she da de yo yi ro de le tsing de ja dang de ni de she o tu ji she sha so de se
So the example given in the guide is, how fishermen might catch a lot of fish, and then they put them all kind of live on the hot sand, and then they'll go to catch some more. So these live fish on the hot sand are not enjoyed, right? It's very miserable and painful. So that experience is like that, and these fish are sure to be killed, isn't it? Because you don't catch fish to let them set free. They catch them so they can, sell them and make some money, right? That's what fishermen do. In another commentary on the guide, which we call the Great Commentary, Gyeltsen, by the master Shijung Lode, the example is the same, but he said it's just like the fisherman goes to catch fish, and then you keep the fish live in a tank, right? Just like we see these days in the big restaurants, as Geshe said. And then somebody orders a fish, right? Then they're going to take one live fish out of the water tank, and they will just chop the head and fry it, So every one of these fish is sure to die, right? Nobody's going to get free out of that. So like that, our life is, we are going in the direction of death. I told you before, right? There's only one direction. And there's no detour. There is no okay, I may detour, and can I have a little long time? No, there's no wrong way. It's just only the right way. So like those fish, our life is set to right for death. And so we should realize that at that time, nothing can help us, and only if we have practice, right, that could stand by us. So those are the examples given in the text and in that great commentary.
Shed Dedara never need Troju Komadam. Sonju Komala so busy, shouldn't Jenny, Lula Riva Shivana, Shirwana, Yabata, Luna, Leg, Ange, Shin Jamshin. Yea, Shonjaki de Yela, Tita Bichia, Missy Lula, Rib the Sashi, do it, do Munion Joyous. Yawa Yini, there's a Penji lady, what may go. Juso Mongo, Shig Sanes, Tada, teacher, the Ings of Jades, Ings of Jade, Shimini, but Kibur Lumni, Sute, Paganso, Shede, Numle Gilun, Mondus, Numle Gilun Yondu. Ye Dora Nedes, the never Miriso Shiva Tese, nor took me, Yawa Gay, you Diwasaba, Tabang, body never Yavatan. Tada, never directing young, near laying into Masobala, Samni, little measure, Gola Meshawatar, the Jones or Jay, Gala Tomashakovi, Tony Basum sauce, or did that. That did that with the James or did us, Corsa did. Hit the courage, you are getting the courage, you dig it at the young Corsa. Young son, you come a lot of it, shouldn't you? You regret you are now. You are what I was. You are to go, you are absolute in Gonzo Lulet Bay. Corsa de Dugan Misoba shook Shabo. Usu de your shadow, never seen the trouble you must stay during the best start up Dodu with Nazashabu, the young god is so declared. But I will learn the later on this Shindu, Junction, nearest, Shonshakin, the Yolas. Yes, the neighbors got trouble with this, Shingle trouble with the neighbor, the Nimbo, or Dickasan Kajita. Because the nearest Shonshakin, the Yola, Teta Jam is a base, Lula, Ribe, Radisai, Due, Dugan, Chubes. You are by near Pensi Gilib, the Wabigay, Chula Soba, Mongbu, Shaking. Sane, the Dada, Chuji, the Ind of Jades, Chiminamba, Giverlones, Sudi, Avance Shashi shading, Yumle Lulu on the Yumle Lulu on tongue. Ye never near day, the never middle so Shiva was. What is that? Sheda, there's Missouri Lutilla and river time doing you want to never did not end today. The Toju the Penji or the new leadership, never did your is. They did do it the Tana Meso machine. He do me with the Tana big nomination, Gibotion, any Carsa Giloni, Liloshin do the any Carreras. In doing the Tang Mario, the Madena, and she made do it the Jori, any Yob Lun did it, she out Yam Shung Yori. Tada Lun de la Big doing Miso do yoris. There's that year Gagachen, Medeva Tadabe, so Hulu is so Tevodo Shen, Hulu de at Harris. But they is so commando down and some of them race, or days.
As Tesla read from the commentary and explained, so basically, this is like we are engaged in intra-personal communication, telling ourselves, right? Nobody's really telling us or we're telling anybody. This is like, communicating to the self, not with others. And so we reflect on all these possibilities that could happen, if our mind as if is going to ask questions, okay, so what? If you die and happens to be in the hell, so what's the big deal about it? So now response to that, there's untold suffering in the hell. For example, hell beings are cooked in the hot molten cauldron, right? And the suffering, you just can't even imagine it, the kind of suffering. And the bodies of hell beings are very delicate and sensitive due to the karmic actions, just like the babies, right? The babies, the skins are so like sensitive and like that. So the hell bodies are very sensitive and delicate that any little thing can is unbearable. So imagine the bodies are very sensitive and delicate, but the suffering is so intense and pervasive. I mean, how can you really, manage that? We're just telling our mind, right? Really, you think you can manage it then? So that's not at all possible. So because this will happen, I have accumulated a lot of negativities, and if I don't get to purify them before the death strikes me, that's where I will end up, right? That is like almost like for sure thing to happen. And when that suffering happens, it's going to be unbearable suffering. And so right now, I'm very fortunate I'm not there. So how can I, let myself be influenced by the laziness of carelessness or couch potato-ness, isn't it? How can I be a couch potato? And it looks like I don't care about anything. I'm kind of in a la-la land, happy, How can I do this? When I think about death is certain, the time of death is uncertain. At the time of death, there's so many challenges come. And if I don't get to purify my karmas, I will end up in the hell. The suffering is even unbearable. And that's going to be me. I'm not talking about anybody else, right? So do you think you can handle that? Right? We are telling ourselves that. So that should help us to be able to motivate and kind of buckle up and exert ourselves into practice. The example given is that, if your hair catches fire, are you going to wait for later, like, oh, let me see how this works out, right? You are going to do everything to kill the fire, isn't it? So like that sense of urgency, as we reflect on this difficult situation, we should right away, engage in practice, and that's the way to, do it.
我这想我聪明的啊，要给就得把上榜，把这个月把当。他这样你们这信仰，你我这平时一来，你他妈说吧了三年，来了没少啊，我了没少啊的，有时候就要这么小鬼呗，是同意不送说是，我这里的，你要这个的是呢，你要这个的是我的，可是那个他妈没有被你要讲联邦不啥有的，他的菜地了是呢，你们这里联可是啥的哇，每个可是啥的，我的啥有的是。现在的已经没这个人是，可是这种当呢，可是这的可就对我上网报的没有也把他答应你们的，他这才得了呀，你们这些你给我可这些，你我可这些我手上的你我还过着我的对吧？做一给我做么了？小鬼被同人把送锁噻，现在的电话通话的研究家被就帮我杀他了，才得来呢，这研究家就帮我杀他，他可是现在研究嘛，这样没都上这种些的，我这样，什么恐怖嘛就把这什么东西的，你别情绪嘛就的记录把这嘛就呢，你是不是就被他当然被你搞我给我来了中国人，我这晓得。
So as we reflect on these things, and it is as if our mind tells us, like, how can you say that you will be in hell? That seems like baseless thing. If the mind rebuts, right, our internal monologue or the dialogue here, then we tell our mind, look, you have been, or I have been in samsara since beginningless time. I already accumulated a lot of negativities. They already exist on my mind as imprints, and I still continue to accumulate negativities. So these are the causes of being reborn in the hell. When you have the causes, the result will follow from the causes if you don't purify them, right? That's why, if I look at all the negativities I've accumulated, it almost like seems guaranteed at the moment. If I die now, I will be in the hell. So I mean that is the answer. So then that really kind of frightens us, isn't it? Oh my gosh, this seems very real. All the causes are here, I created, and the result will follow if I don't purify myself, all this negativity. So we should apply ourselves in the practice like our hair catches fire. We want to extinguish it right away. Like that, we should exert ourselves into virtue and practice. So don't let ourselves fooled by the laziness of couch potato-ness, laziness of procrastination. And I mean, we can just do our own accounting for a day, isn't it? How many positive things we do per day and how many negative things we do, right? And do we purify our negativities or not? So even for a day, if we do the accounting, we will get some sense of that. Now, many lifetimes, right, we have accumulated perhaps more negativities than positive. So therefore, the answer to the rebut is that, no, it's more likely I will be in the hell. So I must buckle up and do something so that I don't have to be there. Okay?
我这倒不是因为有个让多的怕了，哦，用上各位推上去是怕的，说完了没问题，我见几个呢，几个见几个呢，其中嘞是历经。운수 가봐 장시게 뒤지 봐도 쉬어야 녀와이 용의 시에 되네 남도 매지 강라 도시랑 신노 녀와 제바 통도 제바 등 전다 라다 소위 예외 정 지바제와 예나 미세베 남시 녀수녀나 세 매지 첼 시에당스 어디다 이네 녀와 비가 될때 신내 녀와 껴거려 왔어 Tibe, today, Gamda Hidashigu Mundis, Mayikon Yaji Marasina, and he was here, Delia, Upatan, Sugo Jimasun, and the Shizarma, Divaroya, Taring would be Yoa, the said Taring would be limited to using Boyoma issue. Upatan, Sugo Jimasun, she went in your lesaris. Or the letter in that the deal, he delta, he sit, Goboli, hidden at the Josero. The Jews go at some huge party shown Noah, Sidala, at the washable the Yama Jal, Uk part of two much, Uk don't have share the mother. Your tarring boy, your maris. Yoa, do she yet turning and Namdo, Major Kala, Dojira, she knows, or there is. Nyawa dungi shabu shibu diwari. Nyawa da sedi pasda da uk jungu jiga tanda armiki paru jangbi shambu yaw maris. Redi ina dila ya nye dungi mishe nene piki tando lubi oni diya di karis ne pe semdi pe chakbu shibu ji. Dorsha na yi chakbu re si waro. Dorshi rangshi na. Nyawa chiba tondo teba tang. Chenga da la da suks jiwe kyanga. Jigbajewa jene mesebe navinyos no chiters. Otere nyawa se agde dungi kesa sheung de kaza dirwa. Nyawa chiwa se nyewe bi suri dungi nyota rimo chiwa jikshe. En jene ya tong rimo shiba tonga jikshe. En chiwa nyewe dungi de chiwa dishe. En semle ya nyewe dungi semle shaya dine da. En nyawa dungi de pesa de laya dire da. Spooks give us the Tanta, Sumja the Yaw, Dujuta, you are Direba, and near needs you teach of Direba. Give it out, that don't do any bay, Jiba Shuki or us. And then we get near the most near and young, and Jiba Kaze Yungura, the Mogu Maravas. Said that the dead son in Tatakonia, Chishu the Gilu with little magician. As
Geshe explained, it's like we are having a dialogue with our own mind. Our mind is rebutting all the, thinking that we're doing. They say, why are you worrying too much now? You're not dead. To get to the hell, you have to die first, So why are you freaking out right now? That's what the mind says to us, right? So when you die, first you have to die. So how can you worry too much right now? Well, the fact of the matter is that, death can happen anytime. And what it is that as we, go through this breathing process of inhaling and exhaling breath, right? And now if we inhale the breath and we couldn't exhale anymore, the breathing stopped, that's called death. It's not too difficult, right? The death is. So in the letter to a friend, or the Shirulika by great Nagarjuna, it said, what holds you, why you are not in the hell right now? What is in between you and the hell is the breath. Because you're breathing, you're not dead yet. So you have created all these negativities. If the breathing stops now, that's it. There's no great distance between you and the death. It's not like you have to travel like thousands of miles to the hell. Just the breathing, which is very fragile. You breathe, out and you can't breathe in, you are dead. Then you are in the hell already, So that being the situation, now we are telling our mind, how stubborn you are. You're like a rock. You're like a diamond. Don't you feel anything? This is the situation. The breathing can stop anytime, and you could be there. And how can you still, do the couch potato thing and you procrastinate doing the practice for any time? This makes no sense, So we are kind of dialoguing with our own stubborn mind here. And also we tell our mind, even before we are in the hell, when we hear about the hell and the death description, that's not a happy story, isn't it? We're already feeling not happy there. And then we see all the depictions of the hell on the Thanga or the pictures, right? That's really not pretty. That's a very scary one, right? We get scared. And then we read about all the descriptions in Buddhist texts about all kinds of hell, right? That's not a pleasure to us. Even just simply hearing about hells and looking at the depiction of the hell and reading about hell makes us unhappy and scared. But if you read actually there, this is just nothing. We just only talked about it. It's going to be the real intense, pervasive suffering. So you can't handle it, So be smart and engage in practice now, right? Not, stay careless and not procrastinate our practice. Yes. So in general, suffering exists in samsara everywhere, right? All types of suffering. That being said, the suffering in the hell is the most unbearable suffering. Among all types of suffering, there are the 6 types of migrators experience in samsara. Yeah. So how is that? Can you give us a little taste of what it might look like, the hell suffering? You said it's very unbearable. Great Nagarjuna, in his letter to a friend, Shuruleka, give this example. Let's say, as you are a human being here, And if, your body is pierced 500 times by sharp spears, right? Would that be like, a lot of suffering or not, right? And you think this is just unbearable, right? 500 times you are poked by the spears, But compared to even the smallest suffering in the hell, that's, Geshe didn't say piece of cake still. That's not really suffering at all, and that's even not comparable even to the smallest suffering in the hell. That's like multiplied by like 1,000 times, So that's how unbearable the suffering in the hell world is.
我这是可是他东个受到有么说这些，现在的东个有人受这种人是，他东个修查我咋查我的，他说的白的些，东西生些没有些，他这样就用人说现在查个啥的，就是有人不用过的，这是有的。这东个有人受这种呢，这他东个些的没事老小查也娘是娘呀呢。其实每个嘛是这些，嘛是体嘛，其实每个这些嘛就是话，其实说的时候我们就是我写送了，要得写正的是吧？我的如果他咋程度的这就是他有人路开始是呢，这他东西写的没事老是，东西牛老的开始是吧？写完长家。写完长家是那这什么？写完就长家是的，叫写完咱们写完长家是同居就这个是吧？我这个他可是娘子娘啊，那是同居就娘子娘呢，那每个马线那他都得东个谁个马里是，现在可东个开始被有呢，那开始啊，每个谁的马线不东个差不多开始用那了，那个把他这样就要马里是。其实说的这们就是说，就当然现在个电子说那个学习我的写着玩的，个写要么的喜欢，这什么，这个多说的这们就是说，这边呢，有东西都这是个多，这个出入旅怎么去下周把写的吧，有一毛就是把写至少那东西用过的，我的创业这些了呀，是不是事儿把下班他俩走东西用过是的，我就想。那这东西用了之后最羡慕的是吧？羡慕的不现在这东西还能咋查吧？有人嘛，他眼嘛的咋查吧？这，他的用嘛的还能有人嘛？对了呀，还能其实每个人嘛是挺少这么就说的，老喜欢这东西，可是没事老喜欢，可是这个东西没事老喜欢查个是。小查开始，小查开始呢，同学觉得同学就大大的嘛的吧，这些呢，他考试同学就来我考试忙活用谁个嘛的是，每个嘛是不的需要有嘛的是，我这是我呀，这是个多的也嘛的，大家懂吧？你要现在这边的，这就是叫我媳妇考的，如果这个没看到你要把的送些。大家都我这休息一下咯，现在的如果的现在出天嘛都是，你要另个这个如果的或许呢，出什么天是那个事，大家都没弄，但是这种北京是这样的，看到没？他天都有嘛的，你过2小时，因为现在我就天给你，你送不认识，你送咱这所连那边所有用嘛的。个那个就用这个是，大家都我了也讨些，因为中国学习现在的，那的，如果你是什么家长，你来谁来，现在为了讨些呢来，你去头我嘛的嘛，我就是这样子。
The example we gave earlier, right? That if your body is pierced 500 times by sharp spears, and that would be unbearable. But even that example, cannot justify the smallest of the suffering experienced by the hell beings. You have to multiply that by 1,000 times. So that tells us the intensity of the suffering there. Because that's about the suffering is very intense, Now, it's not only that the suffering is intense in the hell, but it is prolonged. It's very long. Until one's negativities that kind of brought up the suffering are exhausted, you don't die, actually. You just have to serve the term, so to speak. You have to experience, suffering for a long, long time. In the letter to a friend, Shurleka, Arya Nagarjuna talks about how, our karmas, negative karmas result may have to be experienced in the hell for Chevatakya, which comes to like 10 billion years. Okay, now this time my math is right. Usually it's tough to translate those math here. 10 billion years. So why is that? Because until the karma is exhausted, its whole potency, you don't die in the hell. And when the karma exhausts, then you die. And so that's how the suffering in the hell is very intense and very, very long time. So we can't even think about it. So if we actually experience it, we can't tolerate it at all. Also, Geshe told this story about how our historical teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, in one of his previous lifetimes, he was also in hell. And he was paired with another partner, hell being, to pull a cart or a chariot, right? Chariot. And so his partner seems to be very weak and couldn't pull it. And the hell guardians, the hunchmen, are like kind of on his case, like, how come you don't pull it? And Buddha, as a partner, said, but you don't have any compassion at all. It's not like he's not pulling. He has no strength to pull. So what are you asking? So I will pull it just by myself. So just let him go. And then the hell huntsman said, like, what a big mouth. Everybody has to experience his karma by himself. What do you mean? How can you experience his karma, right? And then he hit the hammer on his head, the Buddha's head. And Buddha died that time. So that great compassion exhausted his own karma to be in the hell, and then Buddha was able to get out of that. So something like that, a very strong positive state of mind could purify karma. Otherwise, one has to continue, serving and suffering in the hell. So we have to stop there. Sorry, this is whole health discussion. There's no better place to stop, but and we welcome your questions. Anything on the Zoom? No. Then we are here. If you're thinking, I have got some questions here written. Maybe I'll start over this so you have time to think. Again. First, I'll translate for Geshe and then I'll read in English. Jundu says again. Jundu. Kewala Trowas la again. Says that Trowas say the again. Trowas say the Trowas say Yamena Kasodang in again. King Parcher again. Mitiba the Godner to Barage. Dear Trossigo, Stroy Koa Janacho again.
This is what your trust is your trust when going to Javna Samotama and the Shartse and the Kora Kora Karina Kaleka, that way I wish you soon some day. Sim Jibu on here, Jugajo, till it draws.
Shartse get
Oh, Shartse in the Kaleka no mares yet. In Kalebe kids, and semi simjuk. That big Garag they see your what you say, Coca somebody some. This is any Kaleka Marwa.
Like again, the then again, draw the and Koaniga ligament when a chart 7 in a again. Chart say la Kabucha again. That chart said you got again, Kevanaka Nagro again. What that to me, dear shirt to go.
Ever now I don't Karjina. Today, no one to be any.
Dear so shirt to what the dealer toward Lamur.
Chart here, Coca Cola is our Shibuya boy is some. You slot the shoe, don't take it then. Any Kali do Kaya, you better say no to Gabu and Lega show that to us.
강엘 동네 셔버들
다 동네 셔버들 동네 셔버들 다 동네 맛이 감면서 대khai 말이 가부가는 동네 셔서
안 디네겐 디 가서 남주 간조 춘류 시디겐다 베준 셔버셔로 와게
라
베준 셔버셔로 와
와게
베준 셔버데가 디 퍼진 하자버드 가르레서 와게 춘류기 퍼진 라브로 와게 디 퍼진 멤버들 춘류 퍼진로 디 고아신 거로 와게 어디 decision마다 춘류 퍼진 세야다 춘류 진짜 가서 그냥 중국어로 봐 공개 중국어로 가지고 그 다가나게 춘류 퍼진 차요 말로 와게
춘류 퍼진 세야데 다 같이 해당 먹어야지 그지 퍼진 세야데 상제 사람도 미세웠다 춘류 퍼진 냠렌스
냠렌디 올라
냠렌들이 요래다
어디 맞지 고아되게 저 배낭 남기 미스긴 다지 전부 시부도 라이저로 와게 인다 춘류 퍼진 냠렌 차고요 말아 미까지 전부 시부도 가로 와게 그 배제대 지거로 와 있는 딜이야 춘류 퍼진 냠렌 러고요 말아 와게 제가 춘류 퍼진 냠렌 세긴 게 고아되 간대질 샤고로 춘류 퍼진 세대 게 상제 살로 선성하게 어디
지대시 상제 살로 냠렌이야 무슨 살로 요다
냠렌 어저 여러 있는 다 춘류 잠아 저기 춘류 퍼진 차고요 말아 와게 냠렌 차고 말아 춘류 퍼진 냠렌 차고요
바로 침 봐야지 춘류 그 세대 뭐 좋아하다 세월로 와지 상제 사람한테 말아 맞아요 네 버릇이보다 내 버릇이보다 고동이 샤는 생각도 있네요. 파지 rollo는 요 송도. 다음에 배지 이제 파지셔야 돼. 이제 상계 사람도 rollo는 샤고 말이야. 거기 고아시는 될치마다 네 버릇이보다 라브지나 될치바슬라나 상계 사람도 요 말이야. 네 버릇이는 버릇 신지되나? 말긴
비슷해요. 말긴 그냥 알아보시면은 게다 가로 최치긴 갖고 준주를 sam같이 걸어 와게. 예 준주 디게 준주 팔진 개념에 차요 말어 와게. 어디 준주 팔진 개념에 고아한테 간데 사고를 해서 오게.
아예 준주 팔진 개념에 다 드레스 와. 어디서는 그래서 되다. 준주 팔진 개념에 사는 거는 현재 페이지 정식은 뭐라.
그런서.
다 정식은 뭐냐면은
다 그런
지금 뭐라.
알제마 선수로. 이내들 돈이도 셔랍게 그거로 조치 그거 말이야. 돈이도 셔랍 조치 그거로 그거 말이야. 돈이도 셔랍게 가됐어. 근데 장주 쌤 뭐함 쥐마지 거르송으로 와. 대년들이야 돈이도 셔랍게 조치 그거 말이야. 돈이도 다 셔랍데 다 셔랍 요다 야고리고 다 같이 도도 네가 상계사도 하진사디 탐지한 세월로. 네, 디시아로 제도니도 세 버리고 그러. 알아요. 이제 유에 캐바게 매네 디고를 간찬주 셈지고. Sorry, it took a little bit while to clarify because Geshe is going in his direction and I have to make sure he understood the question we're asking. So the question I have, let me read in English and then translate the responses Geshe gave. Can Geshe explain the joy in joyful effort? Why is an effort enough to constitute a perfection, far-reaching attitude? Is the joy about taking delight in the practice actual, or is it more about overcoming adversity? Yeah. Let me kind of translate the Geshe response to what does this joyfulness or joy mean in the perfection of joyfulness or joyful effort, as I said. This is actually defined in terms of sense of delight in doing something positive virtue. Okay. Say, you are doing prostrations, right? So you take joy. So if your joy is very strong, even if, let's say, I said, what about like you get a back pain or something, right? He said, you don't feel it. It's a joy that overrides it. So we don't define it in terms of overcoming the adversities. It happens, but the joy is more in the joy in doing meditation, joy in doing prostration, joy in whatever practice you're doing, right? So that's how it is defined. Why is effort itself not enough to constitute perfection? So that's why Geshe took it in many different directions. The Tibetan word for perfection is parjin, paramita. Okay. So there are very different viewpoints. For example, the great master Tenzin Dorjee says the actual perfections or paramitas only exist in the Buddha land. Okay, that's where we find, not below. But according to some other texts, like the Golden Speech commentary, they said, it depends upon what perfection means. If you're thinking about perfection as an outcome, result, that's in the Buddha state. But if you think of perfection in terms of the means of the method, then that could exist on the path of the trainees, So it depends how, you think about perfection, right? Perfection as an outcome only exists in the Buddha land. Perfection as a means to get there, as a method, then it could exist, right, before Buddhahood. It could exist on the path, right? That's how distinctions are made. So why effort that we make? For example, I gave my example, I'm just making effort to practice. Why is that itself not called perfection, right? Because strictly speaking, the practice has to be motivated by, let's say, actual bodhicitta, or at least contrived bodhicitta, altruism, right? Either you have the actual altruism or bodhicitta, or you have a contrived bodhicitta. So with that, when you make effort in whatever practice you're doing, prostration, then it's called perfection, right? Of joy or the delight. But if you don't have a bodhicitta, yes, you're making a lot of effort. Maybe you have some kind of joy, but that joy does not become the perfection of joyfulness. And I hope. Then I asked kind of a related question, like, must it be conjoined with wisdom gone beyond, right? Geshe said, not necessarily. Of course, it's nice to have it, but the perfection is more, Geshe said, that is defined in terms of the skillful means or the upaya method, Bodhicitta is a must, the actual or the contrived one, motivation. So hope those clarifications answer the questions. And now I come back to anybody here. Yes, Pam, take it away.
Yeah, my question has to do with you were talking about the Buddha's being in the hells and his expression of compassion for his partner that was pulling the cart or couldn't pull the cart. And you said that, I thought you said that that it's possible that a very strong state of mind could purify negativities.
Strong positive mind, I said, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious if I'd like to hear Geshe say something about the state of mind that when it's purified, like what's actually happened. I think on the level of a person, a regular, ordinary person, that purification is like training of the mind. So I'm wondering about the what's happening when the mind is purified. What's really happening?
Oh,
that's sort of
a purified, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're thinking more in terms of the result, outcome. That's what you're thinking.
Yes, but I guess I'm thinking it really in terms of a Buddha mind versus and also a regular
the sentient being mind.
Sentient being.
Okay, sure.
So the actual because that's not exactly totally clear what's really happening, but you hear that all the time.
Okay.
I always thought it was training. It's actually for an ordinary sentient being, it's training of the mind.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Mora kandi shwe de dire ke ta nga zo namju digjong se jorwa gen. Digba chong se jorwa. Tipchong ina digjong yorwa gen. Dida deyo re do ta ke kengi 다자 그 덤바 예외 신다 덤베 체로하게 아니 가서다 로발이야 스미베 닝지게 버와게 디 톱기 에는 골이야 토아주네 샤바레데 닝지 톱 첨부 여자는 야와는 타를 라버와게 저 개와 톱 첨부 여베이나 디바 다도 버와게 저데다 남지 가서 디시 고고도사 디바 다 딩종 체스 라버와게 남지 모나 삼바 디바 다세디 가서 셈종 체버저러와게 고고 여사러와게 얘네 다 세대 뭐네 고아도 가와자고 그래서 그러나 산제기 투디 다 버와게 다 버스미로 와 안조 셈제기 셈디 마다 버스미로 와게 진짜 디바 다 버세다 디바 다 버세디 간데스 고고 그래서 디바 다 버나 가르쳐고 그래서 셈나다 다 써와게
디바 다데 당에 체이들 디레스 나베나 소소 그 소저들 세지 봐주고 지세베나 in the same that was Java Taposhen in the bed. So not Tango that Shartse the Kade, Yamotoshikaya Rumachik Shen, Java Taposhen in Judah. I think that the say the body, Nami, the Numuko Shason, Diva Tower series.
또 용 먹어 차부터 근데 하고 그러게. 나 지금 소설 지금 손안을 쓰고 가르쳐 거다.
So that 그게 다 요무가 하고 뭐지 거기 Diva Tower 시절에 그 요무가 사고 그러와. 어디 사고는 Diva Tower 가지 남이 치면 또 요무가 다 송나. 근데 소도 불로를 구이는 불로도 밥이야 돼 다 두고라. 어디 봐야.
자, 근데 이러면 되게 꽤 샤마된 이렇게 고대 수행을 배는 가족에 둘로 그 치마 이베이나 다 치마 그 거로하게 다 이지감이 트위션한테 그다 버심하게 거로하게 다 단다 디파 다스들 갈라 배나 단다 버주지 세브차샤 데 유바께 또 시작으로하게 다 다스들 다스 보스고로 다 매번 가르쳐로 오게
둘로 추가 디바다 다 디바데 둘로데 야술주데 치마 사도 그러와 다 디바데 이거 뉴스지 샥바신 타고 그러와
다 다베 이제는마다 다바 소소하고 그래 말다
다바데 다 디바 타베 데 가사 이놈다 지들에 다 들에 샤요 이거 다 고스데 고시면 하고 말아 이제 나온 접시 디바 타베 나온 해야 돼 추시와 저와 들에 다시 미미에서와
I'm just trying to give us some easy way to relate, understand this, not give me too many abstract things, which I could translate, and then you are looking at me, right? So Geshe said, when we talk about purification is a training more like practice, right? When we think why we do purification is we want to purify our negativities, because the belief is that negativities can be purified, right? So what is that like? That's what I'm trying to ask Geshe, the distinction. So Geshe gives this example of, let's say, somebody, for whatever reason, happens to kill a cow, right? Maybe you intentionally kill a cow. So that's a negativity, isn't it? Then after that, you really regret, sincerely regret, right, for having taken a life of a sentient being there, animal. And so you apply the 4 powerful antidotes, right? And then you do prostration, you recite mantra, whatever your practice is, you most sincerely regret for having killed a cow. So that power of the regret, really, it purifies that negativity, Now I said, how do you know it's purified? He said, yeah, generally we don't, right, necessarily, but if somebody has a clairvoyant power, they could see that negativity in your mind has been purified. Or at other times, he said, it's possible that practitioners sometimes get this dream indicators. Like in your dream, it looks like you are taking a shower or something, So that is like indication that you have purified that particular karma. It's possible to have some indicators, but not necessarily. So hopefully that's a little more understandable reason Geshe is giving here, right? So that's what we call, right? Tipatava, to purify, Purification is a training or a practice, and that purifies whatever negativity. So the negativity, when it's purified, it sometimes is possible to have some positive signs in a dream or like that, sort of your own sort of vision. But other times we don't know exactly. But if somebody has a clairvoyant power, they can see that.
So the purification experienced on a personal would be for a regular sentient being would actually be there are no more negative thoughts, or at least you have a positive state of mind.
So the Gavata in Kardana, and the Gavat Duyala, so do Yar Duyadam, Yawakara top share. The back has the main, the Gavat top share, The woman, Gavati, Shira, the Vati, but don't show source in the Nevada Shira Tomato shower.
The Geshe Loyan, Kevelo, Manga Kiki, in a deep Tadu, Gunda, check in a minute. Then I'm again, Mango, Miguel Tenji or again. Tajik, Dibjon Mango Chen,
motion, the Divatado,
Tabigita, that's all, Chunda.
That you will love Kobashi, God love more debate, 你们这用着的，我是上街是的，当这个的，你们的老多刚刚把面的，老刚刚养其他人说他们都过了，我就可能个谁都过了。
Geshe says, if let's say as a result of your purification practice, now your mind is becoming more positive in a sense, right? You have more positive thoughts often than not. So that means you're really, I think, negativity is being purified, because when we think about attaining Buddhahood, right now we have all these afflictive emotions and defilements, isn't it? So through our practice, as these defilements decreases, lessens, and then the positive things increase, and then at a point where all the defilements are completely gone, right? We only have positive thought, right? And that's what we call enlightenment, isn't it? Yeah. So I think right now, because we are habituated more in negativities, isn't it? So it's easy for us to do negativities. So even if we do something positive, the negativity somehow messes it up. Our positive is not pure, it's not strong enough, it's not effective enough, isn't it? But as we have more positive thinking, it's more powerful, it's more effective, then that is the indication that the negativities, have been purified.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Tenzin.
Yeah, well.
We have some questions
Sure.
online.
Yeah.
So I'll summarize this one. It was, Geshe said that we do more negative things than positive.
Yeah.
So this may be true for some people, this person says, but the average person who's trying to be a good person, that doesn't sound right to this person. There are many people that have a compassionate nature that are trying to be good. And so this person says that what she heard during the teaching sounds like an overly negative stance. Would Geshe please comment on that interpretation?
Sure.
Thank you.
Taje on the country share the Rawagin. That and the king, Tagi Sunjan and the Karasung Sidu Kanlia. Tang also set up Tom Mavan and Digo Chever Wagin. Chever Gay, Tanda Cheshim Barwa. She did that Kawa, the Dikwani do, and also Dipa shoes among a chili or rest of Rawagin, Tangman. So then Delia pick some Jew shame go again. That meeting there usually is again. Dikma Mango check one roa. She done me on the tongue when this soon there with the Taka members do go again. Can say the Chita mean Alia, then it's some same chain, English in the Mango your rest again. And the get the and Dikwa Manga che or Kawan Yunga Roga. Chena di Kesha the Mason, Taming Shavers or again. Taming about Shavers to do the contain us or that is station number.
Yeah, that they hear Garrison. No, so you tell me against you. Did I say the choosing among the sinner? Did I say you don't see the washing at the choosing in the summon or the sinner? The washing of Mara.
No.
The choosing at the artist, just had to be in a Jolly Doshy and the thing down to just do yourself, to you do you know. Choosing it to you, Mara.
No. So Geshe said what he explained is how it is explained in the Buddhist texts, right? Based upon Buddha's discourses, that we have been in samsara, a cyclic existence, for such a long time, and so we are the ordinary sentient beings with afflictive emotions, right? Afflictive emotions. Footnote such as ignorance, hatred, and anger. That's my footnote, because I don't want it to abstract. So under their influence, we are so habituated in these things. So the kind of karmas we create are mostly negative karmas, And so that's, the situation with ordinary sentient beings, Of course, we don't know who's who, right? So we cannot, make that statement. But ordinary sentient beings, that is how we are. But also, Geshe says, say, usually the positive things we think about are somewhere we think it's a part of religious education, isn't it? Faith belief system. So there are, 7 billion people we have, right? And how many people believe in some kind of faith, right, that teaches you virtues? Let's say, is that 1 billion We don't know, right? If there's only 1 billion who believe in doing something, then the 6 billions are really not in that, isn't it? So that's why, from such perspective, then we can say, like, we don't mean to be negative or kind of look down on people, but at the end of the day, it's up to oneself to find out, right? I mean, how much positivities we have been doing. We only know this life, right? We can't remember, right? In a day, how compassionate how you are, how much benefit you do, how much nice things you think about other people's wishes, then we can get a sense, right? If you're doing more positive kindness, everything, then you're more positive, right? That what we just said maybe doesn't simply apply to you, at least based on this life, you know. But if we are being distracted and delusional and more negative and, you know, I before others, self before, then there is that issue. Yeah. So
상제 디레송도 그래서 내로는 년도 깨야데 40부 뒤는 이제
no, so.
내로도 년도데 내로 깨야데 상생이 심에 뒤는 이제 어디 상수적이 때 뒤랑 어디는 요마세도
No, so. So Buddha himself said in a sutra with this kind of metaphor, how many beings are able to get out of unfortunate states of rebirth, right? And attain the good rebirth. So these are like as many as the dust particles we pick up on a fingertip, isn't it? But then how many, you know, are reborn in the bad migrations from the happy migration, good migration? There are as many as the dust particles on the earth. That Buddha himself said, right? So that looks like we are doing many more negativities, and that's why we end up in bad migrations more than coming out of it, you know. So based on Buddha's teaching, I explained that, right? Yeah. Next question.
The next one online. Geshe inferred that we extinguish negative karma in the hell realms. Don't we still create more negative karma in the hell realm itself?
What was the first part?
Essentially, they're saying, Geshe said we extinguish negative karma in the hell realm, but don't we also generate it there?
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I understood. Yeah. What question's coming up? Yeah. This is what again. The nyawa so lenging it dibu nyang the less or something nyawan target labro. The imba na nyawa nega the galet laying about Mongo Chigio Mares and content had to go rest again. Nyawan the social lay the young son target is labro again. A less honor again. In a nyawa never ring like ya laying about Mongo Sagi or Mares.
So the new never young because you this is about Mamoshe. You are the new you because this I could say you're the disaster code of your yes, we should shoot what shoot some where is a man.
Then you have an content target. Nyawan less on the target says you're again.
You are this is the young parable, the education, the parable, not the no more give out in it. Said the mean,
yeah. Now it's getting clearer. So what Geshe meant is that, you know, we think in terms of, let's say, how can a particular being from a hell get out of that? Like a particular karma precipitated his rebirth in the hell. So until that karma exhausts, right, you suffer, you never die. But once that karma exhausts, then let's say another good karma that the being created before gets activated, and then you get your born as human being, right? That's possible. But on the other hand, what you said is right. While in the hell, we're serving one karma, bad karma, let's say, you know, unfortunately, we are creating many more negativities as well. Because in the hell, we could still get mad, we could still get attached to things, we could still become jealous, right? So all these things could still happen in. That's why it is really difficult to get out of the hell, because we are creating many negativities, and then this will ripen again. So we end up again, right, being reborn in the hell. So does that make the distinction make clear, right? So in between, the good karma interruption is there, right? Something good karma get activated, then you get one pass out, then, you know, hopefully we do well. Otherwise, back to again, right? So that's the issue. Otherwise, yes, once we are there, it's very difficult to get out because we keep on creating many more negativities.
There's another online, but maybe people here
Well, sure.
have questions.
Yeah. Sure. Hi. Hello.
Geshe, you mentioned the importance and the urgency to start practicing right now. My question has to do with, is there one particular practice that is the most powerful and has the most positive results?
Okay.
If Geshe can recommend one practice, or if there is any.
Sure. Mora condition the this go that again on the chiwa meta some new dunga sambarwage. That digida Tonda Yang Robudi, any Yomle Gilelo that Chishu Gilelo Majan Becheta, Yamlen Carson, Tanda Chewa light there was a girl. That Tanda Yamlen Cheko and then Yamlen Namra Mango or again. Then Yamlen when I check near the people slow again. Yamlen that you talk to Chimbochi and a king, Kalumna and a Korean ass again. That Yamlen Chik Tamba in a again. That's Topshu Chimbo, Yamlen again. Karichena Yagres or the Yamlendi.
Yamle Sashi Shusha.
That Yamlen Namra Mango says so much as you are again.
Yamle Shusha said, that show me that was some years, yeah. And show me that was said, sometimes Lindy said, and so the Yamaka said, he wouldn't have me to be able. Then you see in your dog voice. Then you see the you do not any for showing on the Shia, shook your tail. They did easy, man.
Also, Yamdo can say that lady easy lesson, chicken, Ninja Chamber the dinner common because Lamar, they are the dinner school again. Lady saying the young get the dirt Mongo or again. That did shoot the sugar again. No.
The ladies are the Hajida, the Dujas and the call, giving Yamakia, the Yakosan, giving Yabokia, or tell easy to go on.
Some need to come to go again.
Some ninja mena, sure, some ninja go, some ninja said. He was able to show
just trying to get some specific answers here because Geshe is going somewhere else again. So Geshe says, yes, you got it right. We reflect on the death as impermanence of life, and we think about all these difficult situations at the time of death and afterwards, so that we don't get influenced by the laziness or procrastination, so that we realize that practice now is the time to practice. So you ask the question, what practice is, right? And so Geshe said that, after reflecting on the death impermanence, he feels that to think about the infallibility of law of karma and its outcomes is a very powerful way. If once we believe in that, good actions will produce good results, bad actions will produce bad results. Then once we really believe that, then any other practice can follow and become very powerful, right? I was trying to what about compassion? Yeah, great compassion, that's Mahayana practice. And what I mean is have that belief in the infallibility of law of karma, right? Positive actions bring positive results, negative actions. If we truly believe that, then any other practice will become powerful. One more, then I think probably we have to continue next time, question and answer. Yeah.
It's a short one.
Yeah.
Regarding the previous life story of the Buddha.
Yes.
Is the compassion we're capable of expressing the same as the Buddha in that past life story? And can we cultivate this level of compassion now?
Sure. 다기게 다자가 된바 냐베 신다 된베 세도게 다 닝지게 무슨 버와게 다자 된바 냐베 신다 된베 세다 닝지게 무슨 버와 닝지 신보 닝자고 닝지모데 닝지게 무슨 버와게 닌데 닝지디 간조 당다게 게토에 닝지디 더다 찍고 차도요 해서 버와게 간조 이제 장야게 닝지디 다자 된베게 냠신비 닝지셔와게 디니 찍과를 왜서와게 여베나 당당 간조 닝지디 야 공도 깨다나 빼다 가려 열었어 그게.
닝제 다자동아 야 닝제 깨서야지 심지어 탐제를 메고 닝제도 말이. 그런 이제 신다고 되고 로바들 메고 닝제 깨봐. 나 먼저 다 티바셰부로 상제 닝제 해야지는 심지어 제 닝제 깨고 뭐 심지어 탐제 닝제 차림 되고.
이네 다자 때문에 닝제 된 것도 용초 그러다.
그래 용초.
Yeah, Geshe wants to clarify that the compassion Buddha generated in the hell for his partner, that's only for that, his partner, not a great compassion for all sentient beings. Even that part, yes, we are very much capable of that kind of compassion. And of course, here in our teachings, we always emphasize Mahakaruna, great compassion, compassion equally for all, right? And yes, we can cultivate that and we can promote that. And then through our habit with that compassion, then it can, right, have that power. Yeah. So thank you very much for all the questions. Wonderful. And sorry, we have to stop there today. And I have some announcement to make. Oh, prayer request too. Again, Kazan, the Nebani Jamju Shirwagan, that chick Tronsha again. That Delia Tumi Jamju Snaronaski, this actually. And then I'm going to Geshe So yesterday we prayed for special two names who were dealing with health issues, and one of them, Tren Van Lee Nguyen Nghia, passed away. So I think our prayers also were effective in helping him face the eventuality. So we will do prayer again, Avalokiteshvara mantra for him, and many others we know, right, who needed that prayer. And then announcement I have is Venerable Geshe Ngawang Thakpa, who's sitting there. He has been with us for a couple of years. So now every meeting ends in parting, and his time has come to return to monastery. So he's going back day after tomorrow. So if you want to thank him and talk to him later, right, I just want to make that announcement here. Chadong Golun Jove, Yawon, Yelong, Kiawa, Sambu, Sanje, Dong, Tela, Temba, Jere, Zela, Chanze, the Omane, Beme, Home, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme, Omane, Beme. Omane, Beme, Hore, Gawadi, Yodo, Chere, Sewan, Rujo, Rowa, Jayam, Malu, De Sala, Bara, Show, page 3. Lord Jazu, Vidon, Begadi, Kesa, Hove, Chido, Member. Temba Zila, Wando, Jishu, Tanya, Shogun, Jala, Sowa, de, page 5. Mawa, Dame, Guyen, Donga, de, Pare, Jozo, Nieda, Seze, Jangun, Jawa, Niwa, Yapse, Transo, Dinze, Mawe, Shiba, Dinze, Jebe, Yingwo, Zebe, Shije, Nigun, Changzhuo, Dendu. Longdo Damju Bebe Beyu Liu Zhao Jiazi Wenlo Xiaobin Shu Desa Longda Qizhi Zong Yongzhuo Yuli Tobe Yage Xin Longli Diyi Nubi Ben Tobin Kangri Dabu Xiaobin Shu Longda Bomen Zeba Namda Tianda Zhubi Pende Zhubi Penzhuo Jimi Xiebe Qinde Yesa Duje Dendo Xiaobin 其实老的不解不老的，也上对些电动上，少少多多几多，其他面别的，轮多少别是那样。让将心给广播在把做到也着这么说着谁老早他们这些大的明显说给我着，特别见到路上叫我也写着台湾这边被好的至少用给新年说讲的一切红包送。一天送不上到边边找我说说他我。弄到这里要到老王爷路上有点别小，对着家的弄这样百姓，上着那这长的就工作起码送着对不对？对不马到生活，这边都忙不完不着的，这边人忙是为工作，这边的人这些工作，记住新年生活小人说，这边忙到不是在那。这边常常念做上早些，上班这些人工一些，说的新年生活小人说，在上中华这边面着大致上面时间吧，老人这些念着。现在新年生活小人说，早上叫我谁的去了？昨天当天上面天天见大家发放的。知道明白的我说，想着生着人不见，马也不能也就也把
两帮别个样，可能
广
广东
东别我说，当年到我人不见，马也不能也就也我娘把没把样，可能。别我说，绍兴北京就是门道长，日照明星，
的肩膀的
上街行走没得给我。如果脑袋醒了，这我说，看着绕外或外新港中，看到在我马路中间。现在谁往天津
叫做也
下边谁的报道人就接一当我说热闹半
这
天，
个公的呀，
大呀面要我滚到养大老
我到这边世界的了，大大了解用的那个呢，到街上以后，有都